Welcome back. You are working on 8.1E. Would you please make sure that you have retrieved your new workbook? It has a bear on the front, getting its resources. You'll take your old book, you'll put it in a box in the back of the room, and you'll grab this one if you haven't already. Joke of the day, what do flowers use to whistle? They're tulips. Two lips and the plant tulips. Yeah, you got it. So today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Today I'm going to have you read one paragraph at a time, and then I'm going to walk you through what you should be highlighting and why you should be highlighting it. Today we're going to be looking at photosynthesis, and we're going to be looking at the how it happens, where it happens, and what's the result of it, because without it, we would be dead. So let's go ahead and get started. If you would start by reading this paragraph on your own, that would be great. Go ahead and pause. Go ahead and highlight, they make their own food and leaves are the major producing organs of plants. So we already have the where right here, which is it happens in leaves. Leaves are where they make their food. Can you go ahead and pause the video and have a look at this section here? You'll notice that the leaf, we know leaves are very thin, and there is so much going on the microscopic level. You can only imagine how small these organs or organelles actually are. We're going to be focusing on one particular place. You don't have to memorize all of these pieces. We're going to be focusing on one particular one that's called chloroplast, because this is where the plant makes its food. Can you go ahead and pause the video and read this section? Now we have the where, so hopefully you are highlighting that leaves are the site of photosynthesis in plants. And we're also going to highlight the definition of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. It's a series of chemical reactions that convert light energy and water and carbon dioxide into food energy molecules. And they give off oxygen. The sugars that are made can be used immediately, or they can be stored for growth. So what happens in this little guy is that when the sun hits it, as long as it has carbon dioxide from us and water, it will go through the process of making its own food. It is its own food factory. Can you go ahead and read this next paragraph? Go ahead and pause. The important part of this is that there is a small opening that's called a stomata. The stomata is where carbon dioxide from us, water vapor, and even oxygen pass through. So it sends our oxygen through these small holes. It takes in our carbon dioxide through these small holes. If you're hearing my voice right now and you're one of the first 10 students, would you please pause the video, come on up, and please grab a piece of candy from me? All right, let's go ahead and pause and read this section here. So we know that photosynthesis is when a leaf makes its own food. We know where some of those gases come through the stomata, which is going to be on the bottom side, the non-waxy side. And in this paragraph, you should be highlighting also that these cells contain chloroplast. And chloroplast is where the photosynthesis takes place. Really important to know. They're packed together really closely. That way it can expose most cells possible to light. The more light they have, the more food that they can make. This cross section here at the bottom is definitely a microscopic, but I mean, look at all the hundreds of organelles that are here, but we only see this thin part of the leaf. Can you go ahead and slide over to page 15? Can you pause the video and read this paragraph? Welcome back. Now, how does this do this as we're on page 15? Well, it does it in one of two ways. The first way is that you just read in this paragraph is the first step of photosynthesis is that plants capture the energy in light. We know that the only reason we can see anything in the world is because light reflects off of it. And because plants have parts in there, they absorb some of the light and they reflect only green, but absorb the rest of the lights of the rainbow. During photosynthesis, the water molecules split apart, and this releases oxygen for us. See, we know that water is this, but scientists know that when you have multiple molecules of water, through this process of photosynthesis, these split apart, and these two end up making oxygen for us to breathe. Can you go ahead and read this paragraph here about making sugars? And hopefully you saw that there was a second step. So that's another important piece to highlight, is that this is the how it takes place. So sugars are made in the second step of photosynthesis. It's not the type of sugar that you would put on cereal, but sugar does come from plants. It's glucose. And whether it comes from sugar cane or whether it's from fruits, vegetables that are sweet, they make their own sugars. I would love to be a plant for that reason. You're also going to highlight that plants can use this sugar as an immediate source of energy to grow, to make their seeds, or they can store it for later use. A couple of my favorite storage plants are potatoes and carrots. I love that sweet taste, especially sweet potatoes. And down here you can see that when light comes in and hits the top of the leaf and carbon dioxide comes in through the stomata underneath, mixed with water that it gets from the roots, these three will produce sugar and oxygen. Can you go ahead and pause the video and read this last section here? So photosynthesis, like most chemical reactions, photosynthesis requires an input of energy. And so the input ends up being carbon dioxide, water, and light energy. Those are going to be the reactants of what we use to start. And then the products, what it makes is glucose and oxygen. You want to add right here that these are the reactants. These are the starters. It's back from our cell unit, our matter unit. And these are our products of what it makes. Have a great day.